Brandon Tatum is kind of your stereotypical Gen X cop. He loves his freedom, he loves his liberty, he loves his guns, he's a big guy. But that whole bit works really well when the right is the counterculture. Right now, on the other hand, the right is not the counterculture. It's on top. Trump is in office. He controls all three branches of government, and now conservatives are on the defense. Recently, Brandon Tatum uploaded a video where he's debating who he calls a black liberal. Interesting title, but okay. And I'm curious to see how he handles the debate when he's the one having to defend everything the government does, and Trump is the one who is doing all these things, and he's the one trying to play the countercultural role. Curious to see how that goes for him. I've got a video brought up here of said debate, so let's just dive right into it, shall we?
I'm not editing any of this out.
Right now, in this country, a conservative majority Supreme Court is stripping away power from black people to serve in Congress.
Truth
You're
Noob.
saying black people.
Oh, Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith is the host. Since when is he doing politics? I guess he's been doing them for a little bit now, I guess, but I feel like the meminess of him is gonna go away if he's doing politics. Like, I feel like it's better when he's doing commentary on not politics. Hold on, where's that one? I quote this on a daily basis.
Well,
Genuinely.
let's be nice. Yeah. Let's be nice. We don't have to
We don't
go
have to
there.
go there.
I mean, you're not
wrong, but you didn't have to say it.
Good Lord.
I quote that regularly. I quote that shit regularly.
Represent me. It ain't about race. It's about whether a person can represent the constituency or not.
It's a mind. It's a.
Yeah, now that he's going into politics, I can't pretend Stephen A. Smith isn't a chud. I can still try to find him funny, okay? In a way, I find Nick Fuentes funny sometimes, so I guess I can still make an exception for Stephen A. Smith, okay? He can be one of the funny exception conservatives in my mind, like the PKA guys. They're funny enough that I give them a pass for now, but Taylor's on thin fucking ice, let me tell you.
Consistent mind fuck that Republicans try to take us on.
We had a black president that did nothing for black people.
You are a black man.
Nothing for black people? Really? Like, absolutely nothing for black people. Hell, I'd actually argue that if he did literally nothing for black people, it'd be better than the alternative, which was absolutely gonna do less than nothing for black people. So, I don't know. Let's say Obama did nothing. Better than what Romney would have done. Better than what McCain would have done. So, I mean, I can't really... What are you complaining about, bro?
And you're saying they, as if you're not a part of the community. Do you realize that?
When I say they, I'm talking about them black folks that's voting for Democrats, you know, with no demand of anything.
You mean like the vast, vast majority of black people? Also, oh my god, the audio balance is insane.
In return.
What the hell is wrong with looking at yourself as black first before you anything else?
All black people ain't the same. But when I say I'm black, what does that mean? The color of my skin.
Can I interject right there?
No. I got to tell you guys about Verdict Bourbon. You know, it's a bourbon that's smooth.
I am, Jesus Christ, sponsor grift. Okay, I will say, it is a little bit weird. It kind of relates to the combo we had earlier. It is a little weird when people are essentialist about their identity. Like, maybe this is just my white privilege talking and my ability to just be unaware of my whiteness and my maleness and my straightness when I'm going about life, but I feel like the ideal future is one in which we're not like, first and foremost, I'm a black man. First and foremost, I'm a white man. You know, when you hear that one, it's like, whoa. You get a little on the edge of your seat when you hear first and foremost, I'm a white man. That's the first thing you need to know about me. So you're like, okay, what's the second thing I need to know about you? You know, like, that's a little worrying of a mindset. I know that we have different context for it, but, you know.
Noted from a generic perspective. He's talking about placing faith in a president that is Donald Trump.
I get that, Great Haystack.
Considers to be far better than anything the liberals have offered in recent memory. Because ultimately it harkens back every time I run across independents or conservatives.
How's the audio, by the way? Like, it feels like the audio is just all over the place on my visualizer. It's really hard to tell if it's good or not. So let me know, is the video too loud, too quiet? It should be a bit quieter than me, but still fully audible. So let me know in chat how the balance is. Tad quiet. Well, okay, I turned it up a bit, so let me know once I play it again now.
They're looking at what the Democratic Party hasn't done for the black community, and they're asking the question, why should
Quiet,
the
okay.
community's faith be placed in that party? Why not try something new, even if it
All right, let me know
is
if it's too
Donald
loud.
Trump? To that, you explain what?
Number one, I would say that I want to address that he brought up that Iran can't handle us. The retaliation from Iran is economic retaliation. They are forcing the American people to have an economic pressure right now that may cost Donald Trump the midterm elections. That's
You talking about the Strait of Hormuz? You talking about the
yes,
Strait of
closing the
Hormuz?
strait and costing the American people money every single day that strait is closed. That's number one.
Yep, a ton of gas dollars. And on top of that, they just reopened the strait, and in response, or in return, Trump and the U.S. taxpayer has to pay Iran like $300 billion to repair the like $3 billion in damage, or the $3 billion we spent on damaging them. So we spent $3 billion and did $300 billion worth of damage. So that's pretty cool, I guess, from like a war metric, I suppose. But the fact that Trump is now like, I'm so sorry, take this 300 billion. Yeah, not exactly the biggest W. I don't know if the American people are going to be thrilled about that. Remember, Trump ran on being the no more wars guy, the no new wars guy. And now he's gotten us into multiple new wars, and he just lost one. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, okay? We just lost to Iran, okay? We lost to Iran, all right? We did, okay? No copium here. We totally did.
Okay. Number two, when you talk about Democrats versus conservatives, right now in this country, a conservative majority Supreme Court is stripping away power from black people to serve in Congress. Now, he can shake his head at that, but why does that matter? Because as somebody black in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where Louisiana elected the first black person to Congress in the history of this country, Willis Menard in the 1800s, Willis Menard was denied the ability to serve in Congress because a person who was from Congress who later became president said that it was not time for a black man to serve in Congress. You follow that up and you go 100 years later before William Jefferson is elected to Congress in the late 1980s. William Jefferson, Cleo Fields, Cedric Richmond, Troy Carter, 4 people in the history of this country that are black have served in Congress from the state of Louisiana. In that same time, 170 plus white men have gone to Congress from Louisiana in the same period of time. But you're sitting here telling me that this is a fair system to black people, and the people who are orchestrating taking away that power from black.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm impressed with Gary Chambers here. He might have some takes or beliefs that I don't agree with potentially, so this isn't like a gig endorsement. I don't know enough about him, but from what he's saying here, he knows his stuff. He's not just saying like there are systems that are opposed to the liberation of black people. He's able to like reference exactly how many representatives from this state have gone to Congress who are black and how many who have gone to Congress are white. It's like, okay, well, you've got the numbers, bro. Holy shit, you're arguing well. In reference to Gary here, the black liberal, according to Brandon Tatum. That's who he calls him in his title, black liberal. That is an insane title, by the way, right? Like, if I call Brandon Tatum black conservative in this title, is that cool? I guess it is. I guess I will.
People is Donald Trump and his Supreme Court. And as a black person who lives in one of the impacted communities, this is the first time in my lifetime since I was 6 that a black person represented me in Congress from all of Baton Rouge. What does that mean? It means that Southern University, the only HBCU system in America, is finally getting financial appropriations from the federal government to improve the campus of Southern University so that young black children can be educated up on that campus. When Garrett Graves was there, he wasn't sending any money to Southern University, but Cleo Fields surely is. And that matters to black people who are from Baton Rouge, who live in North Baton Rouge, where that is an anchor within our community economically.
So he's in an affected community, but his daughter goes to a prominent school that's doing very, very well. She's doing great, and it's run by white people. Now let's go to the point where you
that's not
Is it a private school or is it a public school? Because if you live in like a wealthy neighborhood, you're gonna be zoned for the school you're zoned for, or you can really try to get zoned for or get into a school you're not really zoned for. There are ways to do that, but it's difficult. And generally, your school's going to be funded. If you're going to a public school, it's funded by the taxes paid by like the local population. So like if you're in a broke area, you're going to go to a broke school. If you are in a rich area, you're going to go to a rich school. So if you've managed to like get a place in a nice area, like even if you're a lower income black family, if you're like in that zoning, you can get your kid to a really nice school in like a majority white neighborhood where everyone's rich as fuck, or like pretty well off and wealthy. That's not like, what kind of gotcha is that? Like, what, you and your family have moved to somewhere with higher property tax? That's the gotcha. Okay.
Let's go to the point where you're making
Hold
this point about.
on, officer. Gary, what's not true about what he just said?
The school system is ran by a black man, that is Lamont Cole. And the school that my daughter attends is a magnet school in the public school system, because my family decided to put my daughter in early childhood education, and we had the resources in order to provide for her. My daughter goes to one of the best schools in East Baton Rouge Parish school system. Now, I'm not talking about the majority of the school system, and the original point that I made was about Louisiana's public schools ranking number 47 in the country.
All right, let's okay. Let me
so
get
go ahead,
this.
go ahead,
This,
officer.
you just proved my point, my man. A black man run this school and is very successful, and a black family has an opportunity to put their black daughter in a very prominent and successful school in Louisiana. So the white man don't have no power over what you can accomplish if you guys put your stuff together, get your stuff together, and do the.
Get your stuff together. I'm sorry, the white man literally said where you could and couldn't live like 40, 50 years ago. That was like just a thing that banks could just do with redlining. And I know it sounds like a long time ago, but like, how old is Officer Tatum? Like 30 to 40? I mean, that wasn't like, his parents dealt with redlining, and I know that he's got a successful, I'm sure he did well in law enforcement. You know, it's a pretty good path to upward mobility, and then he got an online career where you can make an insane amount of money. He's probably a millionaire now. He's not 60. Well, okay, 60 years ago, yeah, is when they were doing redlining, but still, like, once again though, Louisiana is still de facto segregated. Yeah, you have to imagine that those like segregation lines are still very much in effect, right? Like, it's not just blink and it's gone. You know, it's not been that long. Redlining was very recent, and like, the lower income you are, the harder it is to break out of the situation that your parents or your grandparents were in.
The right thing. Now let's get to this whole thing about race. You're saying black people represent me. It ain't about race. It's about whether a person can represent the constituency or not. Are they effective or are they not? Because it doesn't matter about the color of somebody's skin, because we had a black president.
Now we get the Martin Luther King Jr. talking points, disingenuously weaponized against the ideas that he stood for. Very cool.
That did nothing for black people. He did nothing. Donald Trump did more for black people than Barack Obama could ever dream of. When you talk about loan guarantee, or not loan guarantees, when you talk about money that has been guaranteed given to HBCUs, Donald Trump secured that, and Obama could never secure that. When you talk about opportunities,
I can make an even more bullshit argument than that, defending Donald Trump on how he's somehow done more for black people than Obama did. Now, Obama presided over more civil rights change than I think we've seen in like decades. Like, Obama presided over so much progressive fervor building up in America. There was a reason why in the 2016 primary, Bernie performed the best he ever did. Like, we were coming out of 8 years of Obama and America wanting change, America wanting progress and things to get better. Now, granted, we still got Trump in the end, but he lost the popular vote. He didn't win the popular vote the first time. People have gotten dumber this time around. Actually, I think proportionally, Trump really didn't do that much better this time around than he did last time. Like, he got more votes, which is expected because there's more people are able to vote that are like tapped into the Trump movement, younger like Trumpers. But like, it really wasn't by that much. Mostly what fucked Kamala Harris's campaign was the turnout. Like, she just wasn't relevant enough to people to turn out the vote. And then there was the incumbent bias. It wasn't ideal.
When you talk about the First Step Act, that's legislation.
Yeah, leftists didn't vote. Like I remember when Hassan refused to endorse Kamala Harris. I still have the clip, and now that things have gotten so bad, he pretends he didn't. Like if you say to a Hassan fan, Hassan refused to endorse Kamala Harris, they'll respond, no, he voted for her on stream, bro." Meanwhile, the clip is literally him saying, "No, I will not tell you who I voted for. No, I will not endorse anyone unless it is to tell you not to vote for Trump." Those are his exact words, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. He mutes the past. Yep.
Legislation that was passed under President Donald Trump that Barack Obama would never in his life dream of doing. You cannot name one thing that Barack Obama has done. You cannot name one thing that a black politician who's a Democrat has done to help the black people in your community or communities across the United States of America. You can't name one. And then let me say this. You keep saying that somehow the white man is making sure black people are not serving in Congress. There's a ton of black Democrats that are serving in Congress. There's a ton of them. I mean,
they're attempting to take their seats.
You said, excuse me?
And they're attempting to take their seats.
I'll have to look up what redlining means, but I guess it's some sort of segregation. Yeah, kind of, but it's not like a segregation law. Basically, back in the day, banks would and were allowed to do this practice called redlining, where they would draw like I think what it references is like the red denial line for a loan, where they would specifically deny black people loans, which meant they couldn't get houses. Like, this is a time where like everyone was getting loans and they were getting houses, and the boomers were building up generational wealth, and the banks would not work with black people. They you need to be able to get loans from banks and work with banks in order to build your generational wealth, even back during like the 60s, during like the boomer era. But they weren't allowed to. And you know, like if you're Brandon Tatum's age today, your parents lived through redlining. Like, I don't think it's that unreasonable if you're like a progressive to think that policies like that probably still have their trickle-down effects on the black community today. Like, there's this strong desire to throw blame onto black people as a class for their current like status in society, which I wouldn't exactly say is the best. But there's a very strong desire to also ignore very recent history that perhaps makes their plight look a little more understandable.
Attempting to take their seats through what?
The Supreme Court gerrymandering their seats away.
That's where I was going next with the whole redistricting. With the whole redistricting.
There were red, yellow, and green lines on maps made by banks and what level of acceptable risk for housing and business loans. Okay, so like the idea was that that like they were specifically like redlining the neighborhoods where they would allow black people to live. They were basically creating ghettos, essentially.
Gerrymandering issue. That's exactly where I was going next. Go ahead, Officer Taylor.
This is where the gentleman, Mr. Chambers, you're wrong. In many of these cases, the reason that the redistricting did not work out, especially in Louisiana and other places, because they were doing it based on race, and that is not constitutional. And so if you're going to say you need to redistrict,
well, the reason why the redistricting didn't work was because it was going to benefit the Democrats. Like, the whole redistricting thing, the point of that was Republicans were gerrymandering in order to secure Republican votes like they've always done. So Democrats said, if you will not stop this gerrymandering, we're going to gerrymander too. And we're going to gerrymander in a way that's going to make Democrats win. And how do you make Democrats win? Well, you account for the fact that black people are at a very, very high rate of voter turnout, and at a very high rate of voter turnout for Democrats. Say what you want, all right? Say what you want. But black people have like ridiculously high voter turnout compared to like your average white like leftist on Twitter. So never forget who your real allies are. Never forget who your real allies are.
Because black people need a benefit, or black people should be represented. White people can't do that either. So that is the reason why some of the redistricting and lines being drawn was denied by the Supreme Court, is because they did it based on race. This is what black people have been fighting for so many years, is that you cannot make those decisions based on race. And when they try to make them based on race, they were denied in the Supreme Court.
Considering everything that you just highlighted and everything that you just said, Gary, how would you explain?
Keep in mind, by the way, the gerrymandering that the Republicans were doing was also being done by race, because they accounted for the fact that white people in rural areas vote for them at the highest rate. So they specifically were accounting for that in their gerrymandering, while Democrats were accounting for the rate at which black people vote Democrat, or non-white people in general vote Democrat in their gerrymandering. So in both cases, like, gerrymandering has always been done based on racial lines because there's always been such strong political divisions based on racial lines.
Explain the fact that Trump gained black voters in the last election.
I think that the Democrats do a terrible job talking to black people. I think that the Democrats do a terrible job talking about the issues that are important to black people. I think that though the Democrats have a better economic plan for making the economy work, the data proves, even when you brought up the
Why is he smiling and laughing now? Wouldn't he agree?
war, who put us in the forever war? George Bush put us into the 20-year war that we ended up in that cost America billions of dollars on end. Republicans put us in economic peril and Democrats dig us out. When Barack Obama took office in 2008, the economy
Truth nuke
was in the trash can. When he left office in the end of 2016, he gave Donald Trump a prospering economy that he ran into the
truth nuke
trash can. Joe Biden pulls it up a little bit. Donald Trump runs it back.
A lot, by the way. Biden presided over the largest, like, era of economic growth for the United States ever. Like, the economic recovery under Biden was immense. Like, straight line go up.
Into the trash can, and Joseph here sits there and tells us that that's the solution for the American people.
But Gary, how can you say, like, for example, Biden ran it back into the trash can when they, it wasn't just him, it wasn't just Obama, it was Trump too, and I get it, George W. Bush as well. We got a $39 trillion debt. Every administration has contributed to that. These cats spend money. They're not saving. The
national debt has nothing to do with how broke people are.
Not cutting. They're not investing.
Who started the war, though, that contributed to the debt and sending us way into the left field? Conservatives. When Bill Clinton left office, the debt was going down. He was taking the debt down under Bill
surplus.
Clinton. George Bush comes in, and we haven't come back yet. So we have to. One of the things that I hate about
the national, like, are we broke because of taxes? Like, what are you talking? Like, national debt? I wish you would call him out on that. Like, the national debt, either the Fed will print more money or adjust interest rates, or the to help with inflation, or the like, private sector will adjust prices. But, like, the idea of paying off the national debt, like, that's a taxes thing. Like, are we being bankrupted by taxes right now? Is that, like, what's fucking people over? Because I was under the understanding that it was all the prices rising because it's all really, at the moment, trickling down from the wars. Like, we just opened up the Strait of Hormuz again, but the price of oil and gas was through the roof. And when gas is through the roof, everything gets more expensive. Gas prices going up means all prices go up. We've seen it happen a million times.
The way we do politics, we slow down. One of the things I hate about the way we do politics is we act like we can't remember what the cause of a thing is. We talk about all of the symptoms, all of the things that happen after that, but how did we get here? And if we deal with the very beginning of a thing, we can begin to fix it. When you talk about this gerrymandering thing, Stephen, to button that up, I'm from the city where the men who filed the lawsuit are from. I know some of the people who filed this lawsuit. I know they're racist. I don't have to ask anybody, are some of these people racist individuals? I've sat at lunch with these individuals. I know that they don't support black candidates when they run for office in this community. I know very well that some of these individuals mean well in their heart on certain things. But when you get to talking about race, they cannot see past certain issues because they feel like in some way we are taking something from them when the reality is we have never had this.
All right.
Let me jump in here.
Go ahead.
There's a real big issue with liberal-minded black people in this country because they want to be overly reliant on the government. That's the biggest problem. And so they think the government is their daddy.
Yeah, not wanting the government to actively oppress you, or even just wanting the government to account for the fact that the government oppressed, like, your parents or maybe you when you were younger. That's wanting the government to take care of you and coddle you and relying on the government. Like, no, bro. Don't even pretend. Don't even pretend, bro. You've lived through racism, all right? You were a cop, okay? Come on. No, this guy's a grifter. No, there's no way. There's no way he's naive or dumb enough to have these worldviews as a black man. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Call me racist.
The government gonna fix everything, and that is a huge problem. Democrats have done nothing, as the gentleman has explained. They've absolutely done nothing. There's so many things I want to touch on. Barack Obama, he said, I agree with him on this point. Let's agree on this, that every president has run us into debt. And you can't forget that 9/11 happened, that ran us into debt. George Bush got us into war, but the rest of the presidents kept us in the war. Barack Obama didn't pull us out of the war. Many of these other presidents that preceded him could have got us out of the war, but they didn't. Do you not remember when Barack
Why are you bringing up getting us out of wars for Trump? Mind you, it was Biden who pulled us out of Afghanistan, mind you. Trump might have started it, but Biden followed it through, and I think it was actually an L for us to pull out of Afghanistan. The Afghans think it was an L for us to pull out of Afghanistan. So, like, that was pretty not good on Trump's part, and actually kind of a criticism of Biden for doing that. But if you're anti-war, you got to give credit where credit is due to Biden for getting us out of there, and you have to give blame where blame is due to Trump for putting us into new wars as soon as he got elected.
Obama gave pallets of money in the middle of the night to Iran. I mean, so we cannot.
I hear there's always pallets of money. Have you guys ever noticed that? Every conspiracy theory is pallets of money. I remember the conspiracy theory about Netanyahu funneling through Qatar like a bunch of cash to Hamas, and that like the idea was that like Netanyahu was funding Hamas, and I was like, that sounds plausible, but then I fact checked it and found out it's complete nonsense. And I was like, fuck, dude. And it turns out Tucker Carlson is the source as well. That's the crazy thing. It's like, there's always pallets of money. Let's see. Obama, pallets of money to Iran. Let's find out the truth of that, because maybe there were pallets of money sent, but I have a feeling it wasn't, I don't know, like nefarious. The Obama administration airlifted $400 million in cash, which is nothing, stacked on pallets to Iran in January 2016. This is part of a broader $1.7 billion settlement resolving a decades-old dispute at The Hague over a failed pre-1979 arms deal. The remaining $1.3 billion was paid shortly after. The initial payment became highly controversial due to its timing and execution. The hostage release. The first $400 million in cash delivery arrived in Tehran on the same day Iran released 4 American prisoners. While initially denied by the administration, officials later acknowledged the cash was used as leverage until the Americans safely departed Iran. Wait, what? Okay, for one, why is that like a bad thing? Why would they even want to cover that up? Like, that's actually kind of respectable that like the US government was like, yeah, Iran had some Americans hostage, so we paid hundreds of millions of dollars to ensure they'd be safe as they left the country. It's like, damn, okay. All right, a little bit of faith in my being an American, that if anything ever happens to me overseas, my country's going to make sure everything's all right. Cash delivery. The funds were physically flown into Iran using an unmarked cargo plane loaded with Swiss francs, euros, and other foreign currencies. The Obama administration stated this cash method was required because stringent U.S. and international sanctions prevented standard wire transfers. That is true. That is true. I believe Israel had to do the same thing when it was giving like aid to Gaza. The Judgment Fund. The money was drawn from the U.S. Treasury's Judgment Fund, which is a permanent appropriation used to pay legal settlements against the U.S. government, avoiding a direct congressional vote for this specific payment. So we were paying a legal settlement. Doing so helped us get 3 Americans out of Iranian prison, and we took the money from a dedicated set-aside fund for paying off legal challenges to the United States. So literally nothing about this was, like, below board. Literally nothing about this was scandalous at all.
Act like Donald Trump is the only one that's getting us in some war.
But it wasn't just giving them money. It was basically pulling the constraints off of money that the United States government actually owed Iran at that time.
In the middle of the night, they gave them money. It was really.
Yup, Stephen A. Smith. You know what? He's cooking. People in chat were saying he's a chud now, but I mean that was a truth nuke right there.
It was.
I know that, but I'm talking about what the cause, what the reason for it was. It was actually their money, as opposed to us giving them the money.
Right, and there ain't no way in the world we should be giving a terrorist money. And the way in which he did it was secretive, because he did it in the middle of the night with pallets of money. So he contributed to Iran's proliferation of hatred and terrorism, which then had.
Bring up why it was secretive. Bring up that it was because they were like managing a hostage transfer, or well, they were literally trying to get American hostages out of Iran. Like I that when that context comes up, it sounds a lot more, understandable.
It led to us to actually have to do something about it right now. But I want to get to this racism thing. I know Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller is not a racist. Jeff
Okay.
Landry. I know Jeff Landry. He invited me to go gator hunting with him before he was governor. Jeff Landry is not a racist. The problem is, man, you can disagree with their policies and say that they're a bad politician. Well, then go and get a better politician. But to continue to act like these people are racist, Donald Trump is racist. I know Donald Trump. I've met Donald Trump several times. These people are not racist. And when you guys say racism, 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 you cheapen what real racism is, and you're not getting to the core crux of what's going on. If you don't like the...
Do you guys remember when Trump wrote an entire op-ed in the New York Times, if I'm not mistaken, on why the Central Park Five should be given the death penalty after they were exonerated? He was so upset about the Central Park Five being exonerated, he wrote a op-ed about why they should be given the death penalty. That's pretty racist. It was a full-page ad, you say. Yeah, it's pretty racist.
Policy position, just say you don't like the policy position. I don't like any politician that's getting us into debt. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. But at the end of the day, when you look at leftist, liberal, Democrat policies, they destroy this country more than any other political party. Let me just give you an example. And this is what they're doing to destroy Black people. Letting all these illegal aliens into this country, unvetted, unfettered. They come in here by the tens of millions. And now what does that do for Black people?
Oh yeah, Trump put a bounty. He said that he said he would give anyone a cash bounty if they could find evidence that the Central Park Five was guilty that would lead to their execution. He basically said if you could find evidence that would lead to the Central Park Five getting the death penalty, he would pay you like millions of dollars. Like Trump was really trying to get those 5 Black teenagers executed by the state. He wanted that shit bad.
Those jobs, low income or the startup jobs, entry level jobs, the labor jobs, all these illegals are taking those jobs from Black folks. When you talk about government assistance, Black people who actually need it. When you talk about resources that can be given to these inner city schools, resources that can be...
I like this, how all of a sudden we're pro-welfare state when immigration comes up. We're pro-Black people having a welfare state to rely on when it's about immigrants. That's really funny, because just before you were saying, the Black liberal wants to be reliant on the government, and now you're like, well, you see, the immigrants, they're taking all the social spending from Black people. It's like, wait, well, what do you want? Wait, which one are you in favor of, man? Also, no, they're not. Also, they're not even doing that, but that aside, it's just funny.
Given to Black people and building their community. Where are they going? To illegal aliens. All of these things that the Democrats are doing. What else are they pushing? They pushing transgenderism. They pushing all kind of stuff, and none of it had anything to do with Black folks. Reparations. We had a Black president. Why didn't he mention reparations one time while he was the president? Not one.
Because reparations is a very niche, like, leftist... Like, reparations is not a liberal idea. It's a niche leftist idea. Like, this is why it's always so wild when it's like a tanky calls me a liberal. It's like, dude, my ideas would not fly with the Democrats. They would Bernie me. They would literally burn me out of the DNC the same way they did Bernie, because I'm too leftist. I'm too woke. But tankies are a different breed anyway. But
one time did Barack Obama mention reparations or say he was going to give reparations or did anything about reparations? It's just a pony show, man. I feel like the Republicans actually have a mission and a plan for everybody in America. And it's just not Black people. Because just because your skin color is Black, in my opinion, in America, it doesn't mean anything. It's who are you as a person? What do you want to see?
He doesn't mean this, though. I believe in the text of what he's saying, but we don't agree on the actual oomph of it. He doesn't mean this. What he means is that in regards to any issue in which we try to acknowledge past crimes or past, like, injustice, then we should be totally race blind and pretend like none of it matters. That's what he's advocating for.
This country, dude, that means more than your race.
Gary.
The reason these conversations frustrate those of us who really do this work is what Officer Tatum did was a bunch of dog wagging the tail or chasing the car. I gave very specific examples of how Cleo Fields, as a congressman, brought investment into my community as a Democrat, as a Black Democrat. I said that multiple times. I talked about how Garrett Graves was in Congress representing me for over a decade and did not bring investment into my community. I'm not talking about what's happening in Iran. I'm talking about what's happening in East Baton Rouge Parish. I'm telling you that it's gas costs more money today, and he's talking about transgenders. I'm telling.
Yeah, it was a good debate. It was a good debate. I'm a little bit burned out on it. It's a bit slow, but that was a good one. That was a good one. A lot of very like level 1 conservative talking points there. Easy to debunk. Always a good time. If you did enjoy that segment, please consider leaving a like and a comment down below on this video. It really helps a lot. Subscribe and ring the bell icon if you want to see more from me in the future, and follow my socials linked down below. Hopefully I'll be able to see more of you in the future. But thank you for watching as always.